This episode of the Retail Is podcast is sponsored by Gloucester Main Street Preservation Trust. They work to support the Main Street in Gloucester by enhancing the economic and business environment, preserving historical landmarks, and promoting civic and cultural activities. Today's guest is Dr. Cynthia Tyler from Let's Pack and Go Dream Vacations. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I am excited to be here.
Let's get into it a little bit. Why don't you tell us about your business and what you guys do?
Hey, Let's Pack and Go Dream Vacations is a travel agency, and we focus on luxury travel, such as like river cruises, safaris, yachting, sporting travels. It's luxury where you're getting pampered, and also cruising. We do cruising as well. So we do a little bit of everything. We definitely focus on the luxury part of it.
Oh, it sounds so nice right now. So when did you get into the business?
I've been in the travel business for a few years. I started in travel, working for World Travel Holdings out of Massachusetts. And I worked in the administrative side. I used to work in human resources. Well, I can say used to. I still love working in human resources. But I worked in the administrative side at the corporate headquarters, which is the headquarters for Dream Vacations. So I've enjoyed it. And when I left it, I kind of missed it. And when they started their franchise, Dream Vacations, I just had followed it for a number of years. And in 2019 is when I decided, I have got to get back into this travel industry. I loved it then, love it now. So I purchased a franchise in 2019 and started Let's Pack and Go.
Excellent. Well, then that leads me into a big question I want to ask about this is 2019, that is right at COVID time. How did that go? How did you handle all of that?
That was interesting times. Yes, 2019 was right before, COVID presented itself. So I was, literally just getting started, reacquainting myself with the industry. So when COVID came in, I had just started, really just starting to sell. And letting people know I'm in the industry and I'm selling vacations and I'm ready to send them on their joyous getaways. Then when COVID hit, things really just halted. It halted. So what I really did at that time, which really wasn't too much of a bad thing because I was just starting, I didn't have, too many clients that were impacted, which was phenomenal. But it also gave me an opportunity, and it gave me that moment in time to really be able to explore the travel, get some certifications, get some training. At that time, we was having a lot of opportunities, just as across this country, a lot of people had a lot of opportunities during COVID. So did just during with my agencies, being able to get trainings. And so it gave me that time. To me, I thought it was, not that I want COVID to happen, but it was a great time for me to be able to really get out there and get trainings and certifications and get really familiar with what is out there to offer to people. So it gave me that time to build my business from the administrative side. So it was an opportunity. It was an opportunity.
Yeah. Do you think if without all of that, you would have stumbled a little bit more to get it up and running? Was that a real benefit to be able to have that extra education?
It was. It allowed me to be able to focus more on that.
Right.
And then really get acquainted with who my customer was going to be versus doing them both at the same time.
Yes.
I mean, a bad thing because I could have, made a little bit of income, but that's okay. It made it I took it as a more of a benefit for me because it let me focus strictly on that. So as we're coming out of COVID now, slowly, we're still going through some hurdles, but as we're coming out, I have a little more knowledge now.
Mm-hmm. Did you have the travel bug yourself before all of this?
Say that one more time.
The travel bug. Did you travel much before you got into the industry, or do you find now you're sort of getting the travel bug to want to head out somewhere?
I'm getting the travel bug now.
Mm-hmm.
I like to travel, but I did not travel as much as I wanted to once I started this business, because it exposed me to really some destinations I had never thought about, and destinations and activities that I really want to share with other people. So that's one thing this allowed me to do, is to be to see what are some other adventurous things that people can do that I never even thought about. And it just drove me to really want to travel a whole lot more.
What are
And
some
to share it,
examples?
huh?
What are some examples of those places that you've learned about?
Well, safaring. I
Mm-hmm.
never thought about safaring. I've thought about Africa, but I didn't realize what Africa really offers. Yachting. I knew what yachting was, but once I began to see it and understand it and talk to my rep and really explore it, it is amazing adventure to be able to yacht. So, and just and going out the country and just to bike,
To bike.
bike and cycle and just ride up the
Interesting.
mountains.
That sounds
Doing
great.
spiritual walks, going out the country and doing some spiritual walks and adventures. Some of that stuff, yeah, you hear about it, but once you delve into it, and it's you've got to do it. Got to do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree. I love travel. So I mean, that was obviously with COVID, that was your first big roadblock, but again, it sounded like you found a way to get benefit from it.
Yes.
So how did you then like educate people about things reopening? And like, people are very uncertain. I know the people I know who want to go back to like their home country, for instance, don't know what the regulations are, whether they need vaccinations, and things seem to change so fluidly. How much of a handle have you got on all of that, and how do you communicate all that?
Well, I make sure I am constantly researching, and see, that's the one thing about my franchise that I love, because of their expertise in the industry, and their connection to the industry. They also help us, make sure we're staying on top of what's going on with COVID and testing and what countries are looking for, even in state. But having access and being able to share with my clients how to get that access, because it's not a lot of this is not like exclusive to a travel agent. There are some things you have to educate your clients on where to access some of this information of what they need to do to enter another country, what they need to do to get back to the United States, even in state. What are some protocols if you go to Arizona? What are some protocols if you just go up to North Carolina, if you go to Florida? What is it that you need? So it's researching a lot and staying on top of that. And then letting my clients know as I'm talking to them about their destination, what they're going to need to do, but also letting them know that this is fluid. It can change tomorrow. But it's just letting them know when I'm talking to them about where they want to go and what to look out for. And then letting them know where to go and look so that they stay educated as well about where they're going. But I help them to be able to know where to go. And if things are changing, then I'm contacting them to let them know, whether it's through email, whether it's a conversation, if something is changing and maybe they're about to travel, and they say, okay, we need to look at this. This has changed. So this is what you need to know. This is what you need to do. And then just letting them know really every day, things you should just have, even if COVID didn't exist. What are things that you should have anyway when you travel? And you should always have on you, with you, who you should communicate with, what things you should have in place before you travel and during your travels.
Interesting. That sort of leads into my next question was, what benefit is there to hiring a travel agent for people?
The first thing is what I was just mentioning is I will be able, when you have a travel agent, I would be able to have access and be able to have more time to stay on top of what you need to travel. Because you, as the client, you just want to go somewhere. Some people just don't want to have that time that it takes to do that research, and I do that for them.
Yeah.
I help them to understand, what type of things they can do when they travel, as well as their the client's input as well, because sometimes the client knows some things they want to do, and then I can do that research for them. I can stay on top of, making sure that their trip is coordinated so that they can just pack, either they're traveling by themselves or with a group. What does that look like to travel with a group? What does it look like to travel as a single? Letting them know what to look for when they get to their destination. If there are some things that they need to be aware of, I'm letting them know about that. And putting and just the fact that we can just putting the trip together for them.
Right.
So a big part of it is research. It's a big part of what you do.
Yes.
Researchers. I never thought about that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So is there a perception? I know that I've talked to some people and they're like, oh, it costs too much. But I think that's a bit of a myth, isn't it? That going through a travel agent actually costs money and extra money.
That is a myth. But what I'm going to tell you is, for most travel agents, I'm going to say some travel agents, yes, we will charge a research fee. We will charge. However, what that is doing is I tell people to look at it as someone is doing the work for you. Mm-hmm. And we're doing the legwork. And we're going to make sure that you have a joyous travel experience. So as far as paying more, no. Yes, you will probably pay like a research fee, a book travel fee. But as far as the trip is going to be the same cost whether you booked it on your own or not, whether the agent does it or we do it. But what the travel agent is giving to you is first of all, giving you your time back, because we're going to do the research. We're going to make sure you have a joyous travel going and coming. We're providing, and we're also doing research that maybe you don't have time to do, or maybe don't even want to do it.
Yeah, it's more like that.
I don't want to do all of that. So, we're, as a travel advisor or a travel consultant, we're going to do that for you and keep you up to date with what's going on with your trip. Mm-hmm. And helping to coordinate, especially if you're doing a group, we're helping you to coordinate that group. And some people don't want to do that. And we want to do it because, first of all, we enjoy it. That's why we're here. That's why we do it. We enjoy putting together travel, and we enjoy traveling ourselves. But we will do that for you so that you can have time to enjoy your trip.
Yeah.
And we work with you. We're going to involve you in this planning because this is your trip. Ultimately, it's your trip. And we will involve you in that decisioning process and putting together this. Just that we're doing some of the extra work for you.
Because even finding different flights on different airlines and connections, and there's a lot of time put into that I would gladly hand over to someone else to do.
Yes, I mean there's a lot of options out there, and as a travel consultant, it's asking you those questions for what you want and what you're looking for, and getting you the trip that you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And the components of that trip. If there's some activities you want to do. Mm-hmm. We're looking into what are some things that are there that you want to do. Or some people, I've had a couple recently that simply just said, I just want to lay on the beach. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna find that beach for you to lay on.
That's perfect.
And lay there for 7 days.
And it won't be Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach is fine. Some people just want to get out of Virginia Beach and go to, I don't know, an island, whatever it may be, where there's some sun and I can just do nothing.
Escape. Yes.
So where are you seeing it? Have you noticed any places that people like to go to recently? Like a lot of people going to certain areas or certain types of vacations?
Most of what I'm seeing is the Caribbean. I'm seeing most of the Caribbean right now. International is slowly coming back, but I'm seeing most Caribbean and cruising. A lot of people are ready to go back to cruising. Some have been a little skeptical, but now people are really starting to see that being on the cruise ship is not as what's the word I want to use? You're not gonna. There are protocols put in place that people are starting to understand. That in cruising, there are those protocols in place.
Okay.
For cruising. So more people are starting to go back to cruising now, which is great. We're starting to see that rise again, that people are creating those cruise travels again, which is great.
So with the cruise ships coming back into Norfolk, have you started to sort of see, are the trips on offer yet? Are they already being sold, or is that not happening till like next year or something? Do you know?
No, they're happening this year.
They're happening now. So so you're saying the Caribbean for trips or for cruises?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
Okay. Is it just because it's more affordable and you don't have to have? Well, I suppose you still got to have a passport.
I always recommend that people get a passport. Well, if you're traveling by land, you need to have a passport. For cruising, depending on where you're going, it's still a birth certificate and driver's license, but that's slowly changing to passports. But there are some cruising that you can still use your passport and driver's license, government ID. Let me say government ID.
Right.
But passports is more secure to have a passport. I tell anybody, I tell all my clients, if you don't have a passport, please get one. But yeah, the cruising is selling now, even because Carnival is the one going out of this port, out of Norfolk. I'm going to say this port, Norfolk. Norfolk port. And they're selling now. They're selling now.
Yeah. Well, that's good to see. Definitely. So personally, though, you were talking about different places. What's your favorite place that you've been?
Favorite place that I've been, I'll tell you, favorite place I've been and favorite place I want to go to.
Okay.
Place that I've been, I'm just gonna say recently, because recently I did cruise. I cruised in August of, this is 2022, 2021. And going to Bahamas, private island in Bahamas, it was just really, it's such a different feeling, when you go to these private islands and you just lay out and there's, everybody's doing their own thing. And it almost feels like there's no care in the world. That's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed that recently. But I know where I want to go, and I haven't been yet, is I want to go to Paris. I haven't been to Paris yet. I am looking to go to Paris in the next couple of years.
Excellent. Well, here's a question that I saw Kylie had on the list that I'm interested in asking. So you're going to Paris. Let's say you're going to Paris. What airline do you recommend taking, if you can say? What's your favorite airline?
I'm not sure she's allowed to say that, though, Joey.
For international, I can't answer that one. I'm still thinking on that one. My favorite, my preferred, preferred airline. I do like American.
Okay.
That is my preferred, but when it comes to my clients, it's what they prefer. Some clients, it don't matter. Some clients just say, I want to get there, Then you have some clients that do have, like me, American is my preferred airline. So I do look at that first for myself. Okay. But some clients do have their own preferred airline that's all they want to fly. And then we have some clients that, I only fly first class. So you've got to get me a first class ticket or a business class ticket. And then I have clients that say, just give me a seat.
With people having like credit cards that are associated with flight points and things too, they do have sometimes more of a loyalty to one airline that they can use those points with, so they can either get money off or a free ticket or something.
Absolutely. Even with some cruises, some people cruise a lot, and some cruises you can you have loyalty points and things like that. So some people have cruise lines that they prefer, and then you have some that just explore each and every one just to feel the different experiences of going on different cruise lines.
Right. So in terms of dream vacations, is there more than one franchise in the area?
Yes.
Okay.
There are other dream vacation franchises in the area.
Is it something that you have your own territory, or is it you can sell anywhere?
You can sell anywhere.
Okay. All right. So really it's relationships that you are trying to build to be able to get those repeat customers and first time customers too.
Absolutely. Yes. It's relationship building that will actually drive this business. Because the best thing is repeat. You know, you get a client, they enjoy their experience.
And referral.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm definitely, you know, I want my clients to have the experience. That's what it's about to me. My tagline is let's create joyous journeys. And that's what I'm all about, is getting away. I'm learning, because one of the other things that my business does is connecting with businesses to be able to partner with businesses and their wellness programs. I mean, if I could be your travel consultant for your employees and you promote time off and get away, even if it's just up the street, you know, I would love to be that person that helps your employees to make those travels that they want to do, because I'm all about wellness. I'm all about there is time to take a break. I think if anything that we've learned through COVID is mental health and rest and breaks and taking time away, stepping away, even if you're just going out for a walk, stepping away from life for just a few minutes, and how that could really help you mentally, physically, spiritually. So I'm all about that. I'm just all about, let's get away from here. Let's take some time away and let me help you do that.
That sounds wonderful.
That's perfect. Well, we're running low on time, but I did want to ask about any highlights you have since you started this whole experience, this business and everything.
One highlight that I've learned, and one of the initiatives that I'm working on now is I'm an educator as well. I am a human resources professional. That was my previous career, but I am also an educator. And I have really, it's opened my eyes in how travel is educational. You can have fun and hike and, you know, skydive, do all those lovely things in areas that are full and rich of history. And I believe that our children need to travel more. I believe our families need to travel more, and not only just to get away and spend time with each other, but also to look at the history around this world, and what you can learn just by journeying. Yeah, just by journeying.
Well said.
And that's my takeaway with travel. It's just, let's learn and have fun together.
So how can people get a hold of you if they want to, if they either business owners want to talk about partnering with you, or if someone wants to book a vacation, how do they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. I am Cynthia Tyler, Dr. Cynthia Tyler. I can be reached by my website, www.letspackgo.com. All my contact information is on the website. My phone number is 757-797-6555. And my email is ctyler, Tyler, at dreamvacations.com.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, it was so great talking to you, Doctor. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I totally enjoyed this. I enjoy sharing this opportunity with people.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you've been listening to the Retail Is podcast. If you've enjoyed what you heard, you can find more at retailalliance.com/retail-is-podcast, or you can search YouTube for Retail Alliance. I'm Joey Morgan.
And I'm Kylie Ross Seibert.
Thanks for listening.